90.9 The Bridge.
Well, it is my pleasure. It is always a fantastic day to be able to wake up and talk to Ian Byrne of The Elders. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning, lad. How are you, pal?
I'm doing great. You're in your car. What are you up to? What are you doing?
I'm just out and about doing stuff, just trying to keep out. I've got this little woodworking business that I have to keep running to pay for my music habit.
Yeah. We know how that
goes. So I'm
out
doing that, out doing picking up materials and everything else, So every successful musician either has a rich wife or a somewhat successful business. So I've got both. I'm a lucky lad.
Yeah. There you are. So tell us we're going to premiere another song this morning, Old Man Dan, and actually you all have been working on putting together a whole collection of tracks that really came out of when our friend Steve passed away. And kind of tell us what you've been up to since that time, because I know also that you had this thought of retiring. You've been awfully busy for a retired band.
I know. We retired in 2018, but we had a cruise set up for 2019, and we also promised the Plaza Lights we would do the Plaza Lighting ceremony in 2019. So we did indeed do those two shows, and it was at that time then we really decided to hang it up. But it was also at that time I noticed Steve was not his usual self, and he's a fit guy. He was very, very, very health conscious. He was the guy in the corner eating dried something and doing yoga, and he didn't drink, he didn't smoke. He was so I didn't understand why he wasn't doing so well. So anyway, he did look into that and went for some tests, and they found out that he had pulmonary fibrosis. But in the meantime, we kept on maintaining our Tuesday nights get-togethers at the studio, and we continued go up and have a glass of wine and write or just talk or whatever. And we continued to do that. And all of a sudden, we have 20, 30 songs in our repertoire here. And we says, you know what, let's... and then we decided we would record them. So we started doing recording and doing some demos and started putting these together. And so this new album, I just felt when we lost Steve, I just felt an obligation. We got to finish this. So we decided to finish it, and then we decided, you know what? We put all the work into putting all these songs together. Let's go out and play them. So. Yeah. I know there was a man up in heaven shaking his hand down and saying, "Get your arses off the floor and get out there and play some music," So we did, and I know he's up there cheering us on. So Steve's he's involved in a lot of these songs, and I'll tell you, Brian, I know this for a fact. There's literally mandolin parts and some guitar parts and some vocal parts that he literally recorded in his dying breath. I know, and I can see him doing it. He would have just made sure that he got his parts down, and he did, and we were able to preserve them and honor them and get. So it's just a magic, tragic, brilliant, beautiful thing. So it's human.
It is.
That's all I can say.
We have talked about this in recent days with the passing of other musicians, Mark Lanigan, for example. When somebody is a musician or an artist and is able to leave us their art, that is a beautiful thing, right? I mean, so a piece of them lives on in the art that is out there.
Forever and ever and ever. And Becky, Steve's wife, has actually found a lot of paintings. Steve was a really talented painter as well, and she's found quite a few of his paintings lately, and then she's been posting them on her website. And he touched a lot of people. He was a good pal, and I know he'd be really happy with this album. And we got out there and we recorded each song. We weren't really. Sometimes you play them to okay, how are we going to reproduce this? How are we going to play it live? We went into the studio and we brought in a lot of friends. We've got Peter Grant, from California, friends of ours from all over the country. We've got friends of ours from Ireland that we've got on the band. We've got my best mate from Avoca, County Wicklow, Francis Hopper. He's playing some guitar on a couple of tracks, and him and Steve are really good pals. They were good guitar pals, you know. So, and Steve loved the saying, no matter what we had in front of us, I'd just say, well, all right then, you know, just get on with it and get over this hurdle and move on. And he loved that saying, so that's why we decided to call the album, well, all right then, because God knows, we've been through some hurdles the last few years. So, well, all right then, let's move on by and get it done, you know. So.
That's great. That's great. We're talking with Ian Byrne of the Elders this morning. We're going to have a song premiere here in just 1 second, and talking about this new album. And you mentioned, of course, all the struggles we've all been through. I mean, we're coming up on 24 months that we've been in this basement, right? And you know, the Irish Fest, they had to pare that down, and you didn't get to see a lot of international friends and whatnot. As things come back, we're all, I'm sure you are, very excited to get back into that routine and rhythm and seeing people we haven't seen forever.
Absolutely. There's a lot. We're going to do, we just sent one email out, and we've got every festival in the country calling us. So we've picked a few that we really like. We like them all, but we picked some that we can make happen without exhausting ourselves again. I mean, when we retired in 2018, we were doing like 120 to 130 shows a year, and every one of those involved a plane. And I got to where I didn't want to see an airport again for the rest of my life. And you know, flying on airplanes used to be a lot of fun a few years ago, but it's not so much fun anymore. You know, that they herd you in like cattle, and there's no room, and your legs get cramps, and then when you do get on the plane, it doesn't work, and then you have to get off the plane and get on another plane, and so it's just a burden. So we just decided now that we're just going to do the ones we want to do and not kill ourselves. I mean, we're too blooming old for that nonsense anyway, you know. So.
or you know, somebody on the plane is pitching a fit. We've seen that a lot recently. It's not even worth it.
Crazy. I don't know what happens to humans when they get on a plane. You know, they turn into absolute wackos, you know.
It must be the thin air. I don't know. All right, tell us about Old Man Dan. Tell us about the song that we're about to hear.
Old Man Dan. I was remembering Old Man Dan. I grew up in Avoca, County Wicklow, and the closest town was Arklow, which is County Wicklow, and it had about a population of about 20,000 people. And there was this character that you would walk around on, and he was a hobo. He was a homeless guy. I'm not sure what. He was just this guy that I see all the time. And he was that cheery guy that was walking down the street, and he had his shopping cart, and he had 3 or 4 coats on. Doesn't matter what the weather was, and he had a shopping cart full of just rubbish. But he was always smiling, and his name was Joe Pa. I don't know what that means, and nobody really knew where he lived or what he did, but he knew everybody's name. And I was just a young lad going to school at the time, and he'd be across the street, walking up the street, and then I say, "Hello, Joe Pa." And he'd say, "Oh, young Byrne, how are you doing? You know, how's your mum? And he knew everybody, and I was always smiling. He'd be the lad that'd be going through the trash cans at the back of the hotel and try and get a few snippets here and there, and maybe half an inch left in a bottle of wine or something. You know, that was him, and he never had a sad word, or he was never grumpy, or he was never mean. So at one of my trips home, I just where did Joe Pa go? And we were in a group of people that were from the town, old mates of mine, and nobody knew where he came from. Nobody knew where he lived. He was always singing. He used to have a fiddle too. He always had a fiddle in his shopping cart, and so he was the mystery man that I said, you know what, I've got to write a song about this lad. So we called him Old Man Dan, you know. So.
And I love it. I mean, the story you tell, Old Man Dan with the fiddle in his hand, and you just paint the picture. I love it.
Happy little man, and he's singing in the band. Same shirt, same shoes, same coat in his back, and baggy trousers and a feather in his cap, you know. It kind of just I started writing it, and it just, boom, it was done, you know. It just came fast.
Some just write themselves, right?
Yeah, they do.
You have had the extreme pleasure of performing with your son, Kian, as well, making this a family band. And I know that he has actually been very busy as well recently.
Yeah, he's nonstop, that lad. He's playing half a dozen bands. Kian's mission is actually to write a song a day.
Wow.
He writes a song a day, or he'll write a chorus, he'll write a verse, he'll write a section. He pretty much is an absolute disciple of his craft, and is very, very happy that God gave him the talents he has, because he's using them well.
That's great. That's great. Well, it is great to see you. You look well. All the best to the family. We love you. And thank you for doing this, and thank you for the music. And what a great way to honor our friend Steve as well.
Brilliant, pal. Looking forward to seeing you, and looking forward to seeing a lot of our friends out there and playing a few shows. We'll be in Knuckleheads on the 29th, I think, Friday the 29th, and we'll be playing Hellsberg Hall the night before, but that's for the members only. But what we're doing, they're going to present to the members, and if there's any seats left, we'll present that. We'll make those seats available as well. So there'll be chances to see us in Kansas City.
All right. Well, and happy early St. Patrick's Day as well. That's coming up right around the corner.
Good, man. Brilliant. You too, pal.
All right. There's Ian from the Elders. Thank you, my friend. We'll take a listen to the song. We appreciate this.
Thanks, Brian. Cheers, pal. See you soon.
Dancing little jig, chasing all the girls and he chewing on a cig.